I think this team is pretty talented. I think they got a pretty good team around them. So the inconsistencies are crazy. The inconsistencies in that team, just like y'all said earlier, playing down to your competition. That's bad. That's not the mark of a championship caliber basketball team if you play down to your competition.
And ain't top 5, far too inconsistent.
I'm getting so tired of this narrative when it comes to Anthony Edwards, because every bad end game is now, this is why he's not top 5, because he's not consistent. No. I want y'all to know that prior to that game, he's coming off 6 straight 30-point performances.
How many? One more time. They didn't hear you in the back. Real talk. How many? How many?
5-6 straight games, and then he has one bad game, and he's inconsistent. It's like, bro, he's not going to go out there and play great.
I'd argue he wasn't playing that well in the 30-point games, but
what does that mean, Mars? Like he wasn't shooting the basketball well, or he wasn't playing well overall?
Wasn't playing that well. I could that Pelicans game, you could tell me he had 30. He was not good. Like
that Pelicans game, he was fine until the fourth quarter. Yeah, he played good until the fourth quarter.
And then he's posting up Eve Nisi. So cool, he had 30. Shout out to him. Golf club. But I'm not saying that stops him from being top 5. But I think 30 is probably.
I think that
playing well because you scored 30.
Real talk. When you put guys in, because I've done it. To be honest with you, I've done it up here.
Until he started hooping. It's just been this, even within games, it's inconsistent. It's a good fourth quarter or a bad fourth quarter. He turns it up and he ends up with 30 because he played well.
So I guess now he's supposed to score.
No, what I'm saying is it's more than just scoring 30 in a game. But I'm saying if there's inconsistent stretches within games, you start games well and then close them badly, or you start games poorly and then close them well. That's inconsistency within the game.
No, fact.
So just saying the guy
he has to score 8 points a quarter. I know.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's playing bad. He's playing badly during the game. He's playing well during.
You'll have good quarters, bad quarters.
Yeah, but that would be inconsistent. That's inconsistent.
How the game works.
That's inconsistent. If you're playing poorly and then you play well, basketball is an inconsistent sport. If you play poorly and then you play well,
everybody's inconsistent then.
Cool. I'm not saying they're not. What?
What are we talking
if you're
about?
playing poorly and then you play well, just because you end up with 30, that doesn't mean that you played well overall. Cool. That's all I was saying.
With that being said, though, real talk.
That's basketball. Okay.
With that being said, though, real talk, when we're talking about a guy being a top 5 player, this is the kind of stuff that you're gonna have to deal with, because they expect him to play like a top 5 player all the time, right? So when I'm not as good, whether I'm shooting the basketball, whether I'm not as good as a defender on this night, that's going to be highlighted because he's already been put in the talks of being a top 5 player. I had to deal with that on the regular when I'm defending Jason Tatum up here on the regular. So Jason Tatum has a bad shooting night. Chill, he sucks. Jason Tatum wasn't good on the glass. Chill, he sucks. Meanwhile, he's leading them in rebounding, or meanwhile, he's leading them in assists. But because he wasn't good this night, or because he didn't take care of the basketball at the end of the game on this night, he's not that good. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand when you're putting guys in conversations of being a top 5 player in the league.
I mean, I get it. The expectations are high for him. But I don't believe in this logic that Ant is some inconsistent player this year. He's had some of those tendencies in the past, but this particular season, I don't.
He's been one of the best clutch players in the game.
Edwards, and he's not some inconsistent player. That's not true.
In terms of closing games, he's been one of the best clutch players, if not the best clutch player in the game this season. In terms of closing games. Now the 3-ball, we already know that the 3-ball, there's variance. One night I might have it going. I might have it going for a stretch of games, and then there's times that I don't have it going. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not good. I just don't have it going right now. Don't worry, I'm going to get it going. That's what great players do. But Swiper, to your point about Minnesota, I think the Clippers did a great job yesterday in blowing up Minnesota's offense. I think Minnesota's offense was very predictable early, and I think that they didn't make any adjustments to it. I think that guys like Dunn, and in addition to Dunn, I think guys like Kobe Brown, who Ox was very critical of earlier in the season, I think they did a great job in navigating screens and blowing up the action. Their offense started where I got Rudy Gobert coming up to the top after chasing Ant to the way that the offense worked, real talk, was Ant swings the ball. I'm sorry, not Ant. Julius Randle swings the ball. Ant comes behind Julius Randle to come get the ball, and then Rudy comes behind him to set a ball screen, and all this action is happening at once. It would be great if it happened closer to the basket, only except it's happening 35 feet away from the basket. That's really not that difficult to guard. The reason why is because you got so much more space to cover as opposed to if it's starting closer to the basket. Now we're closer to the basket. Your recovery time isn't as good because you don't have that. You don't have the opportunity like you would have if we're starting 4 or 5, 10 feet away from the long ball line. That's number one. Number two, if I got to continue to watch Rudy Gobert tip the ball instead of just grabbing the rebound, I'm going to lose my mind. There was plenty of second chance opportunities that the Clippers had where Rudy is tipping the ball, which works against high school players, which works against maybe college players. But when you're going up against bigger guys who are physical, grab the rebound, big fella. That's what you have to do. Grab the rebound. Julius Randle, I felt like the space that they gave him, I don't think he took the opportunity. I don't think he took the chances that they gave him in terms of him being able to knock down open shots. Like, is the guy's name Niederhauser? Is that his name from the Clippers? The big kid?
Yannick?
Yeah, that's him. Mm-hmm. He ends up getting switched on to Julius on a number of different plays. And he's actually playing the drive. Now, Julius Randle, as we all know, is a streaky shooter. He can knock down an open shot. And a lot of times, instead of him taking that shot, whether it's 18 feet away from the basket or it's 15 feet, he's still trying to get downhill where the lane is clogged with Rudy in there, plus with all the Clippers in there. And we got the help on the strong side, right? So I think that was a problem for them. This Minnesota team is just so much of a head scratcher for me because on paper, I look at this group and I'm thinking to myself, this team should be 55, 60 wins.
Yeah.
But I think the offense isn't put together. Defensively, they're very inconsistent. They don't when they rebound as a group. When they rebound as a group, I think they're one of the better rebounding teams in the game. And I understand, to be honest with you, Rudy's gripe with Minnesota because Mars, sure, I understand how athletic guys are on the wing, and it's hard to keep guys in front of them. But it shouldn't be an Olay where every time I turn around, I got to guard the rim. Every time I turn around, somebody's attacking me. I understand that these guys are really good. But just so you know, I got responsibilities too. Like, I got to deal with this big guy down here. I got to rebound. So in addition to dealing with cleaning up your messes, I got to do my job too. So can you help me out? So I understand Rudy's gripe.
Minnesota, to me, is a team that unfortunately is going to play to the level of their opponent. That's kind of where I'm at with Minnesota. Now, even when they play these lesser teams, they still have a pretty good record against like teams under 500. So I'm not saying they don't win the games, but like their attention to detail, their energy level, their effort level is definitely, and when you see them play OKC, Denver, and then when you see them play Utah, it's two completely different teams. It's actually crazy. So that's why I never get, even when I see them kind of be inconsistent as a unit or underwhelming in certain positions, I still have a lot of faith in this team because I do know come, playoff time or come times when they are playing high level teams, they're going to ramp up their energy and effort level and they can compete. Because just like Chill said, and I agree, when you look at this team between Ant, Julius, Nas, Rudy is still a DPOY candidate. Like, they still have Dante is still one of the, guys you want on your team that can guard and hit open threes. And then they just added Dosunmu, who also does that. Like, this is a good team. This is a good unit. I believe in their talent. I believe, in their playing ability. Now, one of the questions is it time to get rid of Finch? I think that is a valid question. I do think it may be time to move on from Finch. But other than that, I still believe in this unit. Still believe in this team.
So the thing that when I've been talking to Minnesota people about this and then obviously watching a lot of their games, one of the things, and I mentioned this, Chill, in our group chat that we have, that right now the biggest issue they're having is when Rudy Gobert went up into the front of the presser and he said that what Coach Finch needs to do is to hold players accountable for their effort. He said, you're going to make mistakes. That will happen in basketball. But the thing you cannot do is be slacking on effort. And Finch obviously didn't like that. He said they handled it behind the scenes, that he wished Rudy would have said something behind the scenes. But Rudy apparently feels that Finch is allowing for two players in particular to skate by on defensive breakdowns and defensive effort. And those two players are Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, in particular Julius Randle. In the last 15 games, when you filter all the lineups, and this will go into some of the eye test stuff as well for Minnesota fans and media, Julius Randle has the worst defensive rating among any player that has played more than 10 games in the last 15. They have a 115.7 defensive rating with them on the floor. And Anthony Edwards is next up with 113.8. And I think a lot of this, if you watch them play, there are so many breakdowns because Julius is not making secondary rotations. He's not a lot of this stuff Chill talks about, like the sprinting, the running out to the corners. They're compromising so much of what they're doing to protect Ant and Julius. And on the other end, they are also not doing their job consistently enough to make sure they're not leaving players open. They're getting where they need to be on rotation. They're not caught ball watching weak side. Or if Julius, your job is you need to stay in front, he's not doing that either. So all of them, I'm going to give Ant more of a pass here than Julius. Ant obviously carrying a crazy scoring load right now. So that's a part of the reason why his effort defensively has been so bad. But Julius in particular, they have been compromising their defense since he got there. Now he's helped and they figured it out. But in this stretch in particular, he has been abysmal and bad. This team, it's a 500 team basically in the last 15 games. And they have I can't remember what the record in the last 20. I want to say Chill is something like, let me get the exact number for you. Because if you look at what they're supposed to be at this point, because they weren't winning, and then they were winning again, and then they stopped winning, and then now all of a sudden they're kind of stuck in the mud again, a lot of it because of their defensive intensity. They are just having to do so much to protect Julius and Ant, and in particular with Julius right now, he's compromising them so much. They're 11-9 in their last 20 games, and their defense has been horrendous. So I think some of this is, man, I don't know if it's Finch that needs to go. I like Finch. I really like what he's done there. I think he's done a really good job getting the best out of the team. I think the Somu is going to really help them a lot. But I just think, man, they're having so many issues right now protecting the players that are on the roster, and I think that's been a big part of it.
When you have a guy like Rudy Gobert, as good as he is as a defender, as good as he is as a rim protector and a rebounder, I think that could hamper guys, and I think that can hamper
make them
guys
play like with less effort.
Yes, that's where I'm going with this, because I feel like, he's going to clean this up for me. So with him back there, I don't have to rotate as quick as I should. But the problem is that when you go up against better teams, they recognize that. They exploit that. They know that you're not going to shoot gaps. They know that you're not going to rotate. They know that you're not going to recover. And because they do that, they attack your big man. And Rudy has seen that throughout the course of this season, and he knows that, you guys are better than this. It's more of to your point, to counter your point, Swiper, the thing that you're talking about in terms of effort. I mean, we had the same issue when he was playing in New York, when he was playing with Tibbs. We had the same issue. So it's not just him not just knowing how to play defense. That's bad enough. I'm not getting the effort on top of that. So if I'm not getting the effort, it's bad enough you don't know how to do it. But on top of you not knowing how to do it, I'm not getting the effort. That just compounds how bad we can be as a unit. Because Julius Randle is vital to them as a ball handler, as a bucket getter, as a rebounder. And one of his best attributes is his ability to rebound as a defensive rebounder. That's not been going on in Minnesota. And to Finch's point, saying that this shouldn't have been aired out, I don't think this is something that Rudy just came up with. I think that this is something.
I'm sure this has been an issue for a while. Yeah,
I think and he's probably said something to them about this when the cameras are off. And the fact that nobody, Chris Finch in particular, has said anything about this, I think that it was him who decided that, well, I'm now going to say something about this. But this is the same Minnesota team, right, by the way, real talk, that is as bad as they've been playing. They're in the Western Conference Championship again. Watch.
Yeah, I mean, they're good. But I think the issue is they some of this they might beat you. They just need the All-Star break. I think teams are gassed right now, and they just need a break, a week away from ball, and the team as a whole just needs a place to they can just go recharge and get ready for the last third of the season. So there's definitely a part of it that is that. But I do think, again, there's only so much you can do when you have players that are bailing out on possessions. And again, you know how I feel about Ant. I think Ant is incredible. I think Ant is very worthy of a top 5, top 6 discussion. He is also, him and Julius are the two biggest liabilities they have defensively right now over this stretch, over the last 20 games especially. And to your point, maybe it is that Rudy is here and we don't have to play as hard. And to the point, Chill, you're talking about, when Julius and Rudy are on the floor without Ant, plus 12. When Rudy's on the floor with no Julius Randle and it's just him and Anthony, they're okay. They're decent. They're still winning their minutes. But when Julius Randle's on the floor without Rudy, losing those minutes. When Randle and Ant are on the floor without Rudy, they're losing those minutes. When Rudy's on the floor by himself without either one of those players, they're winning their minutes. So some of this is Rudy is the second most important player on the team. I've been trying to communicate this to people for a while. They don't have an identity without Rudy. They don't have their physicality without Rudy. Like Jaden even eats a lot off of what Rudy is doing because he's that important to the central focus of how they filter their defensive system.
I could get a better effort from DiVincenzo too. I can definitely get a better effort from him. I already know who Bones is. Bones is a bucket.
Yeah, Bones
getter.
Can't defend either. Yeah,
I already know who Bones is. Bones is a bucket. Bones is a bucket getter, and I don't think that goes without saying. But Ox, as a big guy, you know, after a while you get sick of it. Like, is anybody going to help me rebound? Is anybody going to stop somebody from getting in the paint? Is anybody going to are you guys just going to just let these guys keep coming in here? Yes, I can appreciate you loving to block shots, loving to rebound. But after a while, I do have to do my job. And these guys haven't been doing their job. And I think Rudy's sick of it.
It shouldn't take 50 games for you to trip out. Rudy should have said something a long time ago. You know, Rudy has to address that because it's ridiculous. And we talked about this before, Chill. Sometimes you get a shot blocker down there, and guards think, oh, okay, well, Rudy got it. You know what I mean? And that's terrible defense from your perimeter. Your perimeter has to continue to move their feet and try to keep their guy in front of them. And everybody got to help rebound if that's the game plan. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes coaches have different game plans where everybody's not going to rebound. But, I mean, I don't know. If Rudy's frustrated, he should speak to his teammates. And they got to figure it out because I think this team is pretty talented. I think they got a pretty good team around them. So the inconsistencies are crazy. The inconsistencies in that team, just like y'all said earlier, playing down to your competition, you know, that's bad. That's not the mark of a championship caliber basketball team. If you play down to your competition, you gotta go beat up on everybody. But I mean, I guess it's just frustrating playing against Kawhi. You know what I'm saying? When he feeling like that, it's rough. They don't got nobody over there that can guard Kawhi, so it's just like.
I will say the idea that
they don't. Who they got that can guard Kawhi?
Kawhi.
That's a little ass boy.
It's the panel. Religion get built on cam. Where the check throw smoke and the hoes go ham. You ain't never seen hoops out here did raw. Every take got weight, every night we drop. Yeah, this that barbershop. Courtside, worldwide tone. Welcome to the only show that really feel like numbers jumping like the score.